Hello, good afternoon. I was going to say good morning as well. Good afternoon. I am Elena, one of the health coaches here at Healthier Texas. Welcome. Thank you for being with me here today. And by being here, you're also being here for yourself and showing that you're committed to your health and wellness goals. So that is awesome to see. Okay, so before we get started on exercise, right, let's just go over some important information. So we're going to switch over to thank you. Okay, so the Healthier Texas is a non-discriminatory organization, and this material that we are presenting was funded by the USDA Supplemental Assistance Program, which is the SNAP. You can switch, thank you. So as I said, I'm Elena. I'm the one in the middle. And if you guys were here with us last week, Natalie was the one who hosted the webinar last week, and then Isabel will be hosting the one next week. So you'll be meeting all three of us through in the next couple weeks. Okay, so the reason we are here, of course, is the community challenge, right? As Ricardo was telling you. So this webinar is a part of an ongoing series of community challenge webinars. As you see, we had one last week and we'll continue to have them until March 9th, right? Until the end of the community challenge. So please continue to show up for encouragement and supporting each other for competitiveness, right? And if you attend 80% of the webinars, I am told that we get points. So please continue to join us. Okay, so our objectives for today is going to be broken up in three different departments, as I call it. So first, we're going to focus on information, right? So we're going to cover the three different types of exercise, the recommendations. And then the second thing we're going to focus on is application. So now that we have the information, how do we apply this into our daily lives? Right. And then the third aspect of it is overcoming barriers. So kind of looking at our own situation, what barriers are present and what are the solutions that we can put in place to still be able to be physically active and be healthy. So go ahead. Okay, so physical activity guidelines for America, right? Really simple. Number one, move more, sit less, right? Sounds simple enough, but application, right? How would we apply this, right? So, for example, if you work from home or you have a desk that you work out of sitting down all day, right? So, simple solution or not simple, right? But a solution would be to get a standing up desk, right? So now just by we haven't changed anything in our lives, we're still going to work, but now instead of sitting down all day, maybe we sit down and stand up randomly, right? So just by doing that, we're increasing our physical activity throughout the day, right? Second, we have physical activity. Getting some is better than none, right? So example, kind of let's say that we don't have time for exercise because it's a busy season in December, right? But you are going to have to go grocery shopping a lot or shopping, right, to get those presents as we did. So the simple change here or application would be I'm going to park as far as I can away every time I go to a store. Right. So now just to go inside the store, you walk 10 minutes and then as you walk out, that's another 10 minutes, right? And that's just one store, right? So just like that, we were able to add 20 minutes into our day. So just simple application techniques that we can use to move more, right? So something is always better than nothing. And then our third one is spreading our physical activity throughout the week is or maximizes our benefits, right? And here we can have the example of, like, let's say we're really busy Monday through Friday because we work, we have other engagements, but we're able to, let's say, 45 minutes Saturday and Sunday, right? Great. That is, as we discussed, something is better than nothing. But as we kind of look at our week, let's say that we can again, apply the walking, right? Parking as far as you can at work. So now you've added 10 minutes just going into work. And let's say you have a 15-minute break, or even during your lunchtime, 30 minutes, you can take a 10-minute walk, right? And then before you go home, before you get in your car, you walk 10 minutes, right, to get into your car. So just like that, we're able to add 30 minutes of walking into our daily routine without really blocking that amount of time, um, uh, to do physical exercise. We're able to kind of incorporate it into our daily lives. So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay, so as we know, we all know that exercise is so important to us, right? It helps us have more energy, feel more alive, right? Sleep better because we're more fatigued, right? It helps us decrease our blood pressure. It helps us improve our cholesterol levels, right? And helps us just be healthier, right? And not get sick all the time. And that comes with like reducing stress, right? Just by going those nature walks, and it really helps us reduce the stress and therefore improve and balance our bodies. And by doing all this, then it helps us prevent those major chronic illnesses, right, in the future. Go ahead. Okay, so before we start into the three different types of exercise, let's just talk a little bit about the talk test, right? And this is going to come in handy in the following slides. So it's really cool. So it's very simple, right? So if we go walking with a friend and we are walking and talking and having an awesome conversation, then at that point, because you're able to have a conversation while you're doing exercise, it's considered to be a moderate intensity exercise, right? Which is fantastic, right? But let's say that you want to perform at a vigorous state, right? So at that point, if we have a conversation while we're exercising, we need to step it up a little bit, right? So those cases where you're like running or jogging, something where you're doing aerobic exercise, but it's a little more strenuous where you can't have a full conversation with your friend. You can just get a quick word in, like, let's go right? That at that point, you're at a vigorous intensity, right? So kind of to recap, moderate, you're able to have a conversation, right, with your friend, whoever you're working out with, or sing a song if you're by yourself, right? But if you're in a vigorous state, then at that point, it's just a few words. You don't have the breath capacity to have a whole conversation or sing at that point. So go ahead, Ricardo. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first one, right? And it's the aerobic exercise, right? So kind of like walking, running, dancing, doing Zumba classes, right? This is aerobic exercise, right? And the recommendation is 150 minutes a week at a moderate physical intensity, right? So if we think of back what we discussed, that spreading out the exercise during the week has more of an impact in our health, right? Let's say that we do 150 minutes and we break it down into 30 minutes, right? So the application aspect, right? We break it up into 30 minutes Monday through Friday, right? Great. And we go with our friend, right? We're still walking with our friend and we're having those conversations. Now we're doing 30 minutes Monday through Friday, which equals to 150 minutes each. And we're walking at a moderate intensity, which is fantastic, right? We're able to meet recommendations. But let's say that we don't have the capacity to do that. We're limited on time, right? So now at this point, you might choose to do your exercises or your running at a more vigorous state, right? Where you can't have those conversations, just have a few words here and there, but you have 20, you break it up into 25 minutes. So you can do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 25 minutes of running before work or after work, whatever it is, but you do it at a vigorous intensity and it would have the same effects as doing 5 times out of the week, 30 minutes, right? So it really, on the application state that we talked about, really depends on your availability of time, on what you're able to do, what kind of exercise you want to do, right? And then also the intensity. So you have choices here. So, and if, yeah, let's go. We'll discuss some barriers here on this one as well. So the second one we're talking about is resistance training, right? So we know resistance training is exercises that involve weightlifting, right? Squats, sit-ups, lunges, those type of exercises. Um, so the recommendation here is 2 times out of the week, working all your major muscle groups, right? So let's say that we do, look at application, right? Let's say that we love Zumba and we choose a Zumba class that they actually use weights during the class, right? So at this point, they do upper body exercises and they also do lower body exercises, right? So the recommendation would be to attend that Zumba class, sorry, twice out of the week, and then you be meeting those recommendations, right? But let's say that you don't do any type of classes, that's not your thing, you'd like to go to the gym, right? And you'd like to split it up, you have a little more time during your day. So at that point you could do, for example, Monday you do upper body, Tuesday lower body, take a break on Wednesday, and then Thursday you do upper body again, and then Wednesday, yeah, and then Thursday, and then Friday you do lower body, right? So at this point you kind of broke it in half, and you were still able to work out those all your major muscle groups twice per week. So again, on the application side, it really depends on what you're ready to do, right? What your style is. Are you doing a class that's working everything? Are you doing separate muscle groups at the gym? So kind of what applies to you specifically. And then when we talk about barriers, we'd be looking at, okay, what if I don't have all that time availability to go to the gym 4 times of the week, but I can go twice, right? Then at that point, maybe doing all your major muscle groups at one time would be more beneficial to you because you're only going to hit the gym once, right? What if you have an injury, a past injury, or maybe you are going to physical therapy, right? So kind of at this point, the barrier would be, okay, I need to get some kind of clearance from my doctor before I start any kind of routine, right? So the solution would be kind of going to the doctor and getting that clearance, or asking that doctor, what are those recommendations? What is that program that is recommended for somebody in my situation, right? This would apply the same if we have any kind of disability, right? Okay, I'm not able to do lower body, but hey, I can still do upper body strength training. So this is kind of where you kind of sit down, look at your situation, meeting yourself where you're at, right? Meeting yourself at you're at, looking at your situation, looking at the barriers, and then looking for solutions after the application. Okay. And as we talked about all the awesome things, strength training also has awesome benefits, right? So as we target our muscle groups, we get stronger, right? So we get stronger, we get increased lean body mass. It decreases our blood pressure, right? Kind of like aerobic exercises. It helps us reduce our bad cholesterol, and it helps us reduce the risk of injury, like Ricardo was talking about, especially because we're stronger, right? We're stronger, we're able to do more, and this helps us in our everyday application, right? Not just like going to the gym and lifting and getting stronger there, but also how do we apply this into our daily lives, right? So it decreases the risk of us falling, improves our confidence, it helps us feel like we're $1 million bucks, like if we can um, accomplish anything that we want to. So strength training has awesome benefits. Okay, and the last one that we're gonna talk about is balance and flexibility, right? So awesome benefits here as well, right? So it also helps us decrease the risk of injury because it improves our stability, right? It focuses on core muscle, our core muscles, right? Stretching. This is where Pilates would come into play, or yoga, or any kind of just stretching and move it. It doesn't have to be this whole drawn out thing. It can be simple exercises that you apply into your daily lives, either in the morning before going to bed, or even, adding stretches to your strength training training that you have already in place, or your cardio before and after your cardio. So it's really important. And if we kind of look at application again, where can you fit it in, and what can you do at the time, meeting yourself where you're at, right? And the recommendation here is 1 to 2 times each week. Okay. Okay, so kind of going back to uh, application in barriers, right? So we talked about, okay, how do I, if I haven't started a physical activity regimen, what do I want to do, right? So here, we'd want to focus on something that we love doing, something that brings a lot of joy, and that is fun for us, right? So it doesn't feel like something that you have to do, but something that you really enjoy doing, that was going to help you moving forward. And then kind of meeting yourself where you're at. And I keep saying that because it's so important, right? So if our goal is to run a marathon, that is fantastic, right? We can start with, if all we can do right now is walk 10 minutes Monday through Friday, then fantastic. That's what we'll do. Right. So we'll do this for the next 2 weeks. And then in another 2 weeks that we'll increase it 5 minutes. Right. So now we're doing 15 minutes. And over time, your time will increase, your distance will increase, and you'll be able to run that marathon. It doesn't mean that we need to try and run the marathon today. Always meeting ourselves where we're at is so important. And that also ties with gradually over time, increasing our endurance, right? If we can't do vigorous right now, all we can do is moderate to low, and that's fantastic, right? If we don't ever want to do vigorous, and we like low to moderate, then that's fine, right? So whatever it is that you can do and is where you're at, it's going to be where you'd like to start. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of interaction. So let's, if you guys can put it on the chat, what kind of physical activities do you do now? You can go ahead and put it on there. If you want to, be challenged a little bit more, put if it's like aerobic, strength training, or if it's a balance, right? Like Pilates, or just stretching in the morning to reduce stress. There you go. Take stairs at work. Awesome. Yeah, just add that application into your daily life helps tremendously. Running. Wow, 11 miles on Saturdays. That's great. Walking, yes. Dancing, strength training. Gym 3 to 4 times a week. Awesome. Okay. So now as you kind of do all those exercises, if we kind of switch the question here, Ricardo, what are those benefits that you personally? Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so now let's talk about how do you motivate yourself to be active, right? What drives you, what pushes you? And this is where we kind of get into kind of looking at your vision, in the future, and saying, okay, well, my overall goal is to be healthier for my grandkids, right? So that's what pushes me every day, right? So what pushes you? Um, yeah, good question. How are you staying motivated with this weather, right? So how do we apply, right, doing exercise indoors versus going out for a walk? Well, we can't do right now because of the snow, or just because it's really cold, right? Yep. Walking the dogs, right? Kind of put it into your day. I guess another question that we could add here is what comes first, the motivation or the action? Anybody have any answers for me? What comes first, the motivation or the action? Motivation. Okay. Motivation. Okay. Okay. Um, so if you were entertained this for a quick minute, what would you think about reversing that model, right? So you usually hear people say, I don't have any motivation to go walking. I need motivation. Um, I just don't have the motivation to eat healthy, right? So I see that some of you put action. If we're kind of able to turn this around and saying action comes first, then motivation, then you kind of say, hey, wait a minute. What do you mean? Right. So as we say action comes first, and as we do the action, then this helps us increase our motivation just a little bit, right? So it kind of holds us accountable to say, okay, I have to do something to get motivation, right? So it kind of pushes the action, right? So kind of keep saying, meeting yourself where you're at, right? So let's say you have no motivation, you want to be active, right? Um, and you don't know where you start, right? So let's say that today I started with, today all I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my sneakers on. So I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to put on my sneakers, but I'm kind of feeling down. So I don't feel like going outside, right? It's okay. If all you are at is putting on your sneakers today, that's where you're at, right? So get up, put on your sneakers, walk around the house, do whatever you need to do, right? We'll try it again tomorrow. So let's say that tomorrow you put on your sneakers again, right? And tomorrow, hey, you have a little motivation there because you put on your sneakers yesterday. Today, you can actually go outside to the front porch, right? And just get some sun, right? And just feel the breeze. And then you go back in and you go on your daily life, right? So that in itself creates a little more spark of motivation, right? Of accomplishment. And then the next day, let's say you put on your shoes, right? You go walk outside. You actually feel motivated to maybe walk outside your lawn or walk down the block, right? So as you can see, if we meet ourselves where we're at, that's where we start, right? But the key is taking that first action. Even if there's no motivation there, just take the smallest action that you can. This will spark motivation, and it will help you continue to create those successful moments that will continue to motivate you so you can continue to move forward. Any thoughts on that? Okay. Scheduling, yeah. Alarm clock, commitment. Okay, okay. All right. So we kind of look at, okay, if you're able to do those exercises, right, and be consistent and walking, what are those those benefits that you feel that you're getting from those actions? Anybody want to share? More energy, better sleep. And this is going to be different for everyone, right? Flexibility. Yeah, sense of accomplishment. Exactly. No longer have hypertension. Yeah, yeah. So, it doesn't have to be really elaborated. Um, just simply walking, will have big impacts. If you haven't started the strength training routine in the past, maybe starting with stretching and flexibility would be a way to start, right? So this is where kind of like the application comes in of, what you can do at this time, right? And then kind of looking at what are your barriers and what are those solutions that you can put in place to be able to cultivate a healthy habit, to form a routine, and then lastly to be consistent in this routine long term, right? Which is ultimately what we want for increased better health. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for your answers. Okay, so anybody have any questions either on the information that we presented, um, on the application aspect, right? How do I incorporate this into my daily life? Or barriers, right? And solutions on, any questions whatsoever? I don't see any questions coming up. Okay, I think we're okay. If you guys can think of any in the future, it's okay. You don't have to think of them right now. You can text us or call us at this number. So 844-262-62 224. It's the same number we use for texting and calling. So you can text us at any time, ask us your questions, call us. Also, as health coaches, we really work with people on accomplishing their health goals, right? And really work on the application aspect of it, and then kind of looking for solutions for your barriers in your specific situation. So if you'd like to work with any of us, we're here either with myself, with Natalie or Isabel. We'd love to work with any of you if you want to. I know we're already working with a lot of people from Community Challenge. So either text us, call us, and then again, kind of looking at our Stronger Texas classes, right? Remember, these are through Zoom. Some are in person, right? So you'd have to go into the schedule online. You can follow the QR code, click on the class, and it'll tell you if it's in person or through Zoom. But right now, since we all can't really leave right now because of the snow, or it's really cold outside, doing some of the Zoom classes indoors would be a great solution, right? A great alternative to the application of staying active during these cold times. So thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to working with you guys. Thank you so much. I'm not sure what we do at this point. Ricardo, do we just ended? I'm not sure if you guys are still here. It's 42 of you guys. Wow, that's awesome. And hello, if I'm already working with some of you.